Hello, welcome back. I am Anna, and today I am extremely excited because I am going to talk about the GTD method. It's something I've talked about before. I am the productivity space, and GTD, or Getting Things Done, is a very well known book by David Allen. Um, it is, I don't know, 15, maybe even more years old, the original version, and it talked about how to basically get through your inbox. But things have changed a little bit lately. A lot of our business and our lives is online. So I actually use this system myself. I have practiced it and created some templates for it within my two favorite tools, which is ClickUp and Airtable. And I want to show you today, walk through just to remind you what those GT steps main pieces are for it, and then also how you can use it within Airtable. I've created a template and interface that I'm going to show you the top level of today, and possibly different pieces of it in different videos. Please let me know if there is a piece that you'd like to see. If you're interested in this template or my ClickUp template that kind of does the same thing, you can see links to that below, plus a whole bunch of information about different blogs I've written about productivity, especially if you're a neurodivergent individual or just plain overwhelmed with everything we're responsible for nowadays. So that said, let's move to just kind of overviewing GTD. All right, so let's first go here, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. So let's first talk about the steps in here. There's really 4 main steps for GTD. We really try to keep it simple. And within that, there's a 5th one here, which is about engagement. And we'll cover that, but I did not build that into the template as the engagement piece is actually using it. So the main piece, and like the first habit to create if you're going to use this method, is to find one place to gather everything that is taking your attention. Ideas, tasks, ruminations, thoughts, everything that comes in your head. The whole point of this is to capture it in one place. That can be a notebook, but for day or like a notes app or something like that. But for today's purposes, we're going to say that is in Airtable. What's great is that Airtable is actually an app as well, so you can do it on your phone or you can do it on your computer, whatever is available when you are there. Then we do a clarification. So we need to actually look through them, like you look through pieces of mail when you get it home. You process each item on the list and ask yourself the questions. Is it actionable? If it is, what is that next action? So you do the executive functioning of kind of figuring it out when you're in the brain space to do it, of what you need to do next. And if it's not actionable, where does it need to go? Where does it need to be filed? Do you do it? Do you delegate it? Do you toss it? Those types of things. Once you do that, you actually put them in the spaces, whether they're items, whether they're tasks, whether they're pieces of a larger project, whether they are actually a project themselves that needs to start getting worked on, or if it's an idea that maybe it's waiting for someday. Someday maybe is the terminology that they use in the book. And then we have reflect, which basically, once you have categorized all these, you go in once or twice a week. I like to recommend twice a week. So you do a middle of the week check just to kind of keep on top of it. This is your planning period. This is your organization when your energy is highest, and keep them current and actionable. So you go through the ones that maybe you've already done. You review ones that were on your list that you thought were higher priority, and you're like, no, they're not. So that is the reflection piece of it. And then when you are doing it, choosing what to do in the moment based on context, time available, energy level, and priorities. There is pieces of this where you can kind of, I've created formulas to help you decide what are higher priorities. This is a more difficult piece to do. It's a little bit less, you have to kind of decide. It's less concrete, so to speak. So, but I've built some things in this template to really be helpful. So let us go over here and move my little timer up here. And again, I am just going to go through the top level here. This is Airtable. This is an interface in Airtable. You can actually see everything in here. It has everything that a task manager or project manager would be. And here you have on the sides, you have different places. The one that we're going to go through today is the GTD steps. So all of this is basically in the background is actually one table with different classifications. You don't need to worry about that. This is the front end that you would use. Everything else happens automatically in the background. And speaking of automations, this particular template does not have any automations on it. There's lots of opportunities to add automations to make this even better, but I really wanted to make it usable without those automations added. Unless you want to contact us, and I'll make another video on how to create some of those automations in here. So here we have the inbox capture. This is where you can add any ideas that come to your head. So let's say I have in my head today the fact that I need to buy a bike for my son. He is in middle school. He wants to ride his bike, the one he's had for 2 years, and there's a lot of growth that happens between like 9 and 11 years old. More details if needed. I don't have any more details, but you could say something to the effect of need to purchase before school starts. If there's any applicable resources to link to, you can add that here, such as a bikestore.com if that's one that you're using. And the item type is important because it really helps classify what it is as you're putting it in. If you don't put anything in, it's going to say that it's an idea. If you do, then it will actually kind of automatically know how to classify it. So I'm going to say this is a one-time task, even though it might actually be a project, but that's okay. We can do a one-time task. And it is in the family area of life. Sometimes when you're actually working on something, you want to do business related stuff. Sometimes you have time set aside for family stuff, like I do on Saturday mornings, those types of things. So I'm going to create that. And it takes a couple seconds to come through, but here we go. So this is capture inbox, one-time task, need to buy a bike, F. So the reason it's like this, it's an automated field that basically takes the first 20 or so characters, but it also tells you what type it is. So, okay, you capture all these, and now you are going to the next phase, which is clarify and organize. So the way that you can do that is just go to this next tab, and you will see everything that is actually on your list. But the ones that you need to look at are these up here, the ones that are in the capture inbox. So let's say I'm going into this one-time task. I'm opening it up. And automatically, since you are doing the clarification, you're going to be asked these getting things done questions. Everything that is actionable, or every question that has a star, are ones that really should be answered for you to correctly classify. So is this something that's actionable? Yes, it is a verb, need to buy a bike. So that is an actionable thing. What is the next action step? Take son to bike store. Correct? And then how to move this forward. So this is where you kind of figure out, this is the organization part of this. Is it something you want to do now? Is it something we're going to delegate to someone else, like perhaps my husband? Are we going to create a task or project from it? Are we going to delete it? Are we going to file it under someday? Maybe. And then there's also a reference piece. Because remember I said those are the type of categories that you decide what to do next. So we're going to create a task project because this is something we have to do. Now, something that automatically happens is that we get this little list of things to, it's a mini SOP of sorts to use this tool. It says, if it's a task, so if we're just doing a task, change the type either to one-time task, repeating task, or part of project. So that means that there are, if you scroll down here, this item type, you have different types of tasks that you can have in here. And I'm actually going to say that this is a one-time task. So that is that first piece there, one-time task, change status to to-do. So it's no longer, so we're taking it out of that capture and we're actually doing it to-do. And then set an approximate due date. So this is important just so you kind of have an idea of when this needs to happen by. So we're in July. My kid starts school on the 18th. I'm going to say, let's have this done by the 10th, because we'll probably do it the weekend before. and it will kind of figure that piece out. Do not worry about next due date. This is something that I built in for repeating tasks. We'll go over that in another video. There's a whole bunch of other information you can put in here. This is recurring or repeating information you can put in. But if there's checklists or instructions in here, like things you want to remember. And what's kind of neat about this is that you can definitely create a checklist, and you can say, make sure it works, it will work for the next 3 to 5 years. And the reason I'm saying that is because he's getting tall, and I don't want to, have it get too small for him too quickly. That's a lot of money to spend, right? And then we have all of this information here. So this is what changes. If you finished all of these starred boxes, this will change to complete. So you'll know that the clarification is complete. You've done that piece. And of course, the last modified. This information down here, again, I will do this in another one, but this is for if you relate it to a current project, if it's part of a bigger project, you can actually relate it in there. So like new item for capture or plan trip. If this is part of planning a trip to Alaska for next summer, it's almost like making a subtask for it, but you're doing everything at that moment in time. So that, in essence, is how you actually create the clarify and organize. And then when you do a reflection, so once or twice a week, you go through the reflection. And the way that it's organized in here is that everything that is a to-do status, something that is on deck, is added right here. So you can actually see the things that are going on. Now, there's a whole bunch of junk in here right now because of testing, etc. But you can tell by looking at it what it is, if it's a project. This is the clarify section. So if there's some in here that you have not actually fully gone through, and then you can tell right away, and you can go into it and make sure that these questions are answered. So is it actionable? No. How to move forward? We're going to file under reference. In which case it says it gives the instructions. So we're going to change this to reference only. We're going to change this to reference item, and then it will come out of this list and go into the reference list. Okay, so that is a way that you can go and do that. And then if you scroll over here, you'll be able to see some more information. Like this is the due dates that were added onto this. You can see, okay, this is due date. It's on track, but look, there are some here that have a little red thing that says this due date is overdue. So you either need to, and it has this little thing, it says update due date or complete. So you will need to update the due date. Like let's say we're going to do it tomorrow. And so that would make sure the priority helper would be added there. So I'm going to mention one more thing. Is that there is priority set on here specifically for when you reflect and you kind of figure out what is the next step and what do you need to do for second, third. So I've added priorities. These are manually put on here. So if it is like an on track, then you don't need to have a priority, or you can do this is being done next. I guess it depends on when the date is and those types of things. So you can change those around. Anything here that says update due date, anything that is update should probably be now, etc. This is currently organized by status, so you can actually see things that are in progress. Is clarify complete? Exactly. So this is a high level view of actually how to use this. And then you can see all items here if you want to do that. Again, it is by, it's by status in here. So you can even see things that are completed. Gives you a really good overall view of things. Granted, this could get really crowded very quickly. And I want to make sure things are extremely organized and easy to look at. One of the things I do to do that, if you put on reflect and you go over here to the calendar view of it, you can see it day by day. And this is the due dates that you're looking at. This is a recurring task that happens every day, and you can look at it, you can see the information in it, you can go in here and enact on things. And so that can be really helpful, and look at things by the day or the week or the month. So here, nothing's on today. There it is. So here we have it came up here. You can click in here and get in here. So that is my quick, not quick, high level view of my GTD task manager. It goes through all the steps in here. It kind of makes it fun because there's some automations, but not automations. These are all done through formulas that are in there. So it will work right away. Now, you probably might want to have an Airtable upgrade in order to run this and make sure that it has enough data to kind of go through these formulas. But I believe that you can run it on the free version as well. This is all for this video. Let's talk through kind of the different views of it later. Or if you want some more details of this, you can actually purchase this template and be able to see everything and get a full kind of video course of how to use it. If you click the link below, we also have one in ClickUp, and I hope that you see it. And if you have any questions, please let me know.